Hello friends, welcome back to another video. If you're new and not subscribed, I'm Kayla Bame, and you should really think about subscribing to my channel because the bestest, most greatest things in the world happen when you do that. So, subscribe. I kind of look like a mess right now because I thought I had this intro filmed already, and then when I went to start editing the video, I realized I didn't have an intro filmed. So here's a last minute intro with me, Kayla Bame. Hi. Anyway, for today's video, what else would I be doing? Of course, I'm gonna be paint pouring. Paint pouring, I fell down the rabbit hole of paint pouring, okay? I started off and I didn't like it, and then I tried it again, and then all of a sudden, all I do is paint pour now. So it's another paint pouring video. This video, I guess I'm gonna be trying 3 different techniques for paint pouring, but it's kind of, I guess all of paint pouring is like abstract art because it's kind of all over the place, but I'm trying to replicate techniques that I saw in one of those paint pouring compilation videos, like, 50 of the coolest paint pouring techniques. Usually there's no tutorial with them, it's just music in the back, so I'm just copying the stuff that they're doing in the video. So for this video, it's going to be 3 abstract paint pours. Let's do it. Okay, party people, for the first pour that I'm doing, I'm using the 2 mini cups, the colors pink, fuchsia, very dirty fuchsia, magenta, and then lavender, bright violet, and blue violet. So for this pour, I took all of the pinks that I had and from darkest to lightest put them in one of the miniature cups. I'm calling it a miniature cup because I'm not gonna say what it actually is. YouTube might be upset with me if I say that. So I took all the pinks and I layered them into the cup. The way that I layered them into the cup is I tilted the cup, as you can see the way I'm holding it, and I just squirted some, and you could see little ring layers as I squirted it until it got to the very top. And then I took all the purple colors and I did the same exact thing, darkest to lightest, and I put it in the other miniature cup, doing the same exact thing, tilting the cup and then just layering it on top of each other until I got to the very top of the cup. And then for the best part, I took both the cups and made sure that the paints ended up touching each other as I poured them, and I just poured them into each other like this. I also made sure that the rings, because of the way that I tilted the cup, that I tilted them where I poured the colors, if that makes sense, like where the colors were leaning, just to make sure all the colors came through. But yeah, I just put them together and then poured it, made sure the paint was touching, and it was super cool. And after I was done with that, I started to tilt the canvas a little bit, and I used the advice from one of the paint pourers I saw on YouTube, and that was, when you tilt the paint in one direction, make sure you center it back into the middle or wherever it was the center would be before changing direction, just to make sure you keep the pattern. And it actually made a huge difference in keeping the pattern, because had I not centered it back into the middle, it would have completely lost its pattern and looked like something else. So yeah, I thought this one came out pretty cool. For my next pour, I used burnt umber, jet black, silver metallic, gold metallic, and rose gold metallic. So for this one, I am going to be doing a Dutch pour, but with all the metallics. So I just started off with the silver and did a little zigzag, and then I did the gold and rose gold in the same exact zigzag. I really wanted to try out the metallics again, since the last time I did it, I didn't use enough of the metallic paint, so it didn't really come through. Like, couldn't really tell that it was metallic. So I figured if the only paint that I'm pouring with is metallic paint, you'll definitely see it. I also put a line of jet black and a line of burnt umber through the paint just because that's what they did in the YouTube video. And you actually end up seeing it a little bit, so I guess it works. But that's why I did that. And then I took the white paint that I mixed. It's basically like 25% paint to 75% water or something like that. Just to make sure the paint is thin enough to pour with. And I put this paint all along the outside of my color because when you Dutch pour, that's just what you do. So yeah. And because this is a Dutch pour, I had the blow dryer out to blow the paint. And this is kind of where stuff started to go wrong for me. And it is actually 100% my fault that it went wrong. If you see the paint, especially the metallic paint, when I run the blow dryer over it, it kind of looks like there's a film over it. And that is because I didn't realize the blow dryer was on like the hottest setting it could be on. So instead of blowing the paint, it ended up drying the paint, which is definitely not what I wanted. So my solution to this problem was to get a, what are these called? Popsicle sticks? I almost called it a toothpick. Whoa. Yeah, I didn't know what this was called for a second. I took a popsicle stick and kind of just took off that film. You could see it slide off there just to get the wet paint underneath. It definitely dried because of the blow dryer, and I didn't realize the blow dryer was on the hottest setting until like halfway through the very last paint pour I did. So I was really confused why I was doing this, and then when I saw the blow dryer, I think it would have helped if it had been on a cool setting, or some of you said to use a straw and just blow it myself, which probably also would have worked better than the blow dryer on an extreme hot setting. But then I tried again with the blow dryer to move the paint, and as you can see, nothing's really moving because it was just kind of drying the paint. It moved a little bit, but when it's on the hottest setting, it's gonna dry the paint more than it's gonna move the paint, so that was my bad. And for my last pour, I'm using the colors Sun Gold, Coral, and True Red, and then True Blue, Key Green, K Green, still don't know how to pronounce this one, pretty color though, and Deep Turquoise. So for this one, I also wanted to do a version of a Dutch pour, so I did a squiggly line starting with the yellow, but then on the other side, I did a squiggly line using some blue, because I wanted to do a Dutch pour with the bright colors going into black, and then the darker colors, or like the blue colors, going into white. So kind of do a Dutch pour, but then spread it out in separate directions. Kind of like a yin and yang thing. I don't know if I pulled it off, but that's what I wanted to do because I saw a paint pourer do that and I thought it was a really cool idea. So that's what I was attempting to do here. And then, like I said, I put the white on the blue side. This is paint that I mixed myself. And then I took the black paint that I mixed myself and poured it around the outside of the red, orange, and yellow side to kind of have a yin and yang Dutch pour. I thought that would have been cool, okay? And then it was time for the blow dryer, but again, as I said earlier, I left it on a very hot setting, which I didn't mean to do, and I didn't realize that I did it until in the middle of this paint pour, which was the last paint pour that I did. It still kind of moved a little bit better than the metallic paint, which was weird, but it did have that little film on it from the high heat of the blow dryer. And then I realized that it was on such a high heat, so I tried putting it on a cooler heat, but it was kind of like damage was already done because the paint was already extremely dry by the time I put it on the cool setting. So for this one, I also used a popsicle stick to kind of get the film off of the surface and spread the paint around a little bit more. So I think this one could have turned out a little bit better had I not used a blow dryer on really high heat. I guess I could have used a straw. A lot of people are telling me to use a straw for the Dutch pours, so maybe I'll try that out next time. I'm kind of curious to see if that'll work. I mean, I'm sure it would, but like how much I would have to blow into it to get it to work like that. I also wouldn't run into the problem of it being too high of heat because it's my breath, so I want to try that out too. Alright, that is it for today's video. If you liked it, be sure to give it a thumbs up and leave in the comments down below what you thought of these 3 paint pours. Definitely could have been better. I say that every time, but after I looked at them again, I still think they're very cool. Again, I haven't been paint pouring for that long, so of course it's not going to look as good as a professional paint pourer who's been doing it for 20 years. It's just a fun hobby of mine, and I think they came out pretty okay, so I think the first one is definitely my favorite, but leave in the comments down below which one was your favorite. But I'll see you guys back here next time.